Welcome! Welcome to Between the Covers, the show for readers and writers and lovers of books. I'm Stephanie Larkin, an author, book publisher, and owner of Red Penguin Books. We publish books of all types and genres, so if you have a book in your head or maybe 300 pieces of loose leaf shoved in a drawer for 1,000 years, unleash your inner author and go to redpenguinbooks.com. I'm so excited that we have 3 authors who managed to unleash themselves this week. So please welcome authors Paul Mila, Deborah Burns, and Tracy Auerbach. And I got the Auerbach right. Did you hear me? I've been practicing the Auerbach. Deborah Burns was easy. Super easy. I'm so thrilled that we unleashed, and there's a huge pile of books on this desk, so we have definitely unleashed. How long have you been writing? Tracy, how long have you been writing for?
I have been writing since I was a kid. I took creative writing classes, I wrote stories, but I started writing with the mission of being published after I had my kids.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a much more recent thing.
Yes.
Not since you were little.
Yes.
Deborah?
I was a journalism major in college. First female editor-in-chief.
She's our professional writer on the couch
of my
today.
college
Yes.
newspaper.
She came to this honestly, not like some of us,
And
Paul.
I worked a lot in marketing in my life, so I could write, but I was always wired more for the headline or the expression of an idea.
Right.
And then I got struck with this notion to write about my mother and our relationship in my own midlife.
And after reading about her mother, I could see why she wants to write.
It's the story I was born to tell, and it took me on a
Absolutely.
creative journey where I actually had to take whatever writing I had in me and learn how to unfold a story rather than sum it up.
Right.
So it was a process for me.
Now, if Deborah came to it from the professional end, Paul came completely different.
Well, I started writing novels around 2002, but I always enjoyed writing. When I had a real job, I was a corporate economist, so I used to do a lot of business writing.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I've known
Yeah.
you forever, and I didn't know you were doing business
Yeah,
writing.
I actually had a real job at one point.
You had a real job?
Real
I can't
job,
imagine.
real job. And,
See, I
which
know you
always-
since the fake job.
So the one that used to pay the bills
Yeah.
was the corporate economist job and other business writing. But even going back in school, I just had a knack for writing. I enjoyed expressing myself on the page.
Love that.
Math was a mystery to me. I was one of those kids. You could either, I guess, math-oriented or writing-oriented. I was on the
Right.
writing side, and that came very easily to me. I just always enjoyed the process. Even in college, I enjoyed writing term papers. I just loved to write. So,
Wow.
I knew someday I'd do something like this. And
And now there's a stack of books on
Now
my
there's a
table.
stack of books,
I
yeah.
love that. Well, there was a survey by Book Expo that 90% of the people in the world want to write a book.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And in this country, like less than 0.5% actually do. So you are, the elite over here on the couch. I love that.
Nice.
we just persevere a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's good we're not having this show in Iceland, because in Iceland, 60% of the adults there have published a book.
Wow.
Is that possible?
Wow.
Now,
It's a more
you know how that's
relaxing
possible? Because you know what else there is to do in Iceland?
Nothing.
It's dark, it's cold, and they just sit around and publish books, I guess.
Long winter nights.
That's our problem here in America. We have way too much to distract
you.
us.
Right.
If we had just cold and dark, we too would be publishing at a 60% rate. Now, I'd asked you all about bringing something that either inspires you, something that you've read recently, or a favorite. What did you bring along?
I brought Lord of the Flies because
I read your book, and now I know why.
It's dark, but I love writing about human nature. A lot of my books take some aspects of human psychology. One of it is on the landscape is a fantasy, post-apocalyptic setting,
Right.
More science fiction based. But it's all about the Sin Soldiers is about weaponizing human vices. And Sons of Fire is really about what it means to be human.
And what it means to have sibling rivalry.
Exactly. And just like the positive and very negative aspects of humanity, I've always loved in this book. I did a Freudian analysis of it in high school, and I just thought that it was so cool. It really inspired me.
Good choice. Good choice. Deborah, what inspires you? Or what do you
So I when I was writing the memoir.
She reads on a Kindle, so those.
I immersed myself in the world of memoirs there, and there
Did you?
are
What did
so
you-
many,
oh, yeah,
so many favorites.
Yeah. Okay. What are some faves?
But Dani Shapiro and her latest Inheritance is phenomenal, and I turned to Audible recently.
okay.
I've been driving more. I'm not as much in the city, so more on the island, and I just inhale.
Yes.
And hear so much. And Lori Gottlieb's Maybe You Should Talk to Someone is phenomenal. She has such an original voice. It's about a therapist who is in therapy while she's writing about 4 of her patients who are in therapy. It's fascinating. And I'm reading on my Kindle one of my publisher's latest releases because we all support one another. It's called Love is a Rebellious Bird by Elaine Klassen. And it's very
nice,
good.
very nice. And welcome to audiobooks. It is the fastest growing segment of the publishing market right now.
Well, I recorded it in the studio, not something like this,
Yes.
and it was a whole experience.
Yeah.
And my youngest son is an audio
Wow.
engineer, and he helped to record it. So
Good stuff.
he inhaled it that way.
Very nice.
But it Audible is just a fascinating way to read.
To read, exactly.
read, yeah.
To read, it is. Paul, what are you reading now?
Well,
or what do you
just
like?
finished a couple. I forgot to throw them in the car, so I
That's
can't show you
okay.
the covers. But one, The Silent Patient.
Who wrote
I
that?
forget the author's name now, but it's a phenomenal book.
Okay.
And also Something in the Water.
Something in the water. Well, of course, you're
And
into
the reason
water.
why I selected those books is that both of these books have amazing twists in them.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I like to try and develop
Yeah.
is the ability to put a good twist into the book and really catch the reader off guard. Not that you trick them, but you just kind of catch them off guard, and it makes them remember the book. So, for my own purposes, I wanted to kind of examine how other authors do that. So, I wanted to make myself a better writer. So, I think the best way to make yourself a better writer is to read.
Absolutely.
So-
Fantastic. Well, if you love to read, and after you've finished reading all your books and you've passed them around and you're not quite sure where the books should go, please remember the Book Fairies. We love the Book Fairies here because they collect over 50,000 books every single month all over Long Island and distribute them to school children, adults, and 50 libraries across the pond in Africa for people in need. Thebookfairies.org, you can visit their website to see when you can drop off books, or please feel free to drop off books here at Between the Covers any Wednesday night. You'll even get a free glass of wine, so please think of the Book Fairies. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Thanks.
Writing a book is the adventure of a lifetime. Red Penguin Books take pride in giving our authors a publishing experience that is stress-free and celebratory all the way. Some of our authors first approach us with no more than an idea for a book that's ready to sprout. Others submit completed manuscripts. Whether you're at either end or anywhere in between, our goal is to get you published. At Red Penguin Books, we offer options and opportunities that are unique in the world of publishing, and all of them are designed to keep you, the author we so deeply respect, in the driver's seat, unlike other publishing houses. So, if you want to write a book and are looking for a publisher, we've got you covered. Red Penguin Books deal in publishing services, book development, and ghostwriting for digital, print, and audiobook. Call us at 516-448-4993 or visit our website www.redpenguinbooks.com.
Talking.
Welcome back to Between the Covers. Thanks for joining us. Our first author, Paul Milo, was a scuba diver who discovered that his love of writing and his love of scuba was a terrific tie-in. The pictures in his book, especially the new children's books, are all taken by Paul when he's out scuba diving, which makes me so incredibly jealous and makes me desperately want to get my scuba lesson. So
Definitely, you should.
I am on. You and I
Dive
were
in.
talking. I'm definitely going. I mean, look at these gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. Doesn't that make you want to go diving?
Well, I'm kind of lucky in that besides, doing the writing, I was able to combine underwater photography, which I also love, and kind of marry the two into the children's books.
They're fabulous.
So-
And I know that all the covers were shot by you also.
Most of them. A couple of them. This one was not. This was professionally
Okay, so
done.
I will just hide that cover.
Okay. But I took most of the
But
other photos.
yeah, these other photos, these other pictures. Did you take this photo?
Took that one.
With the
This-
shark,
This
yeah.
one I purchased from another. I didn't have a good
Okay.
dolphin shot, so that was purchased commercially.
Well, I know that these
But-
photos are all yours, and Paul just recently got back from diving with the great white sharks.
In Guadalupe Island, Mexico, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. And I think we even have some video of you with great white sharks. When you sent it to me, I was terrified. Look at this. He took that picture. He was there.
That was one of those bucket list trips, Once and done, had it, and I'm
Never going back.
ready to move on, but it was a great experience.
Never going back.
And you never know. Well, I've been lucky that a lot of the adventures I've been on or experienced eventually kind of find their way into my books.
Right.
So there could be a shark book in the future.
I was going to say, is there going to be a shark
No,
book?
I don't know if I
Because-
can compete with the best shark book of all.
Well, I mean,
But,
there's
you know,
that.
But we'll see how, it might
Which,
find
by
its
the way, is universally known as not even being a great book. It was, terrific as a movie, but as far as the literary quality, even the author, and you were on with me when I said he regrets writing it.
Right. For other reasons, though. I think he had a conservationist reason for, regretting that he wrote it
Exactly.
because it resulted in the death of so many sharks. But
Right.
yeah, I read it. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. What do I know? I just I like to read.
I like it happy ending. They got the shark
There you
at the
go.
end. Bobby, do we have some videos to show of, I don't know if we have turtles or sharks? Okay, we're going to do sharks first because let's scare our audience
Sure.
first. Let's take a look at some video footage that Paul actually took himself. Let's take a look. And now talk about
So
it.
anyway,
Wow, those
So-
were pretty shocking.
thank you. Yeah, the first one was our first time in the water seeing these animals, which were.
Were you scared? Because I'm scared watching.
I was more scared before we got into the cage because they had to chum the water to get the sharks close to us. So you're on the back of this boat, and you see these sharks kind of going through the water with the dorsal fin slicing through the water, and you have two parts of your body. Your logical brain is saying it's okay, they all do this, they come back. But your inner visceral self is saying, idiot, when the sharks are in the water, you don't go in the water, you stay out of the water. So there was that little bit
Because
of a...
I've seen Jaws. I know you're not supposed to be going in then.
It was that push and pull, but once you got used to it and saw how beautiful these animals were, you kind of lost the fear of it. And we felt pretty secure in the cages. Without a cage, it would have been a different, I wouldn't put that
No.
So
Now,
that
in
was
the
it.
second video, I saw that you were in the cage and the shark
Right.
actually slammed into the cage.
Yeah, that video was taken by a young lady named Sarah Scott, one of our cage mates in there. We had 2 or 3 people in the cage. And the thing about sharks is that they're very unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. And this one, was a huge one that came by the last day, swam through around, and all of a sudden decided to rush the cage. And I don't know what its intent was, if it wanted to try and see what the goodies were inside the cage, or what it was. But the minute it had that one bump and didn't like the feel of metal, it swam off, and that was it. So it was over and done.
Boy, you take book research to a new level.
Very committed, very committed.
Very committed. So when you
So-
write dangerous waters and stuff, you know what you're talking about.
It helped. Well, you want to be, it's fiction, but you want it to be plausible fiction. It has to be plausible. If it's totally
Absolutely.
implausible, unless it's meant not to be, plausible, then readers don't take you seriously. So you have to know what you're
Exactly.
talking about. You become
Exactly.
a bit of a topic expert.
Right. So I see here we have a series of books underwater mystery. Is that a good
Underwater
description?
thriller, murder mystery.
Okay, and then I want to talk a little bit about your children's books, which
Okay.
are just so gorgeous. Harry Hawksbill Helps His Friends. I love that. And your newest one is Gracie Green Turtle, and you and I were talking about a little bit of a
Right.
tie-in with that. What's going on with Gracie?
Right. Well, right now, what we found is that there are some sea turtle hospitals and other areas in the U.S. that actually foster saving the beaches for turtles to be able to come up and lay their eggs. And in that book, it has a little bit of a conservationist theme where she's trying to lay her eggs on the beach where she was born, which is what turtles do. 25 years later, they come back to the beach.
25 years later,
It takes
they
them
come back
25
to the
years
beach?
to mature. They come back to the
And
beach.
they find the right beach.
When they're born, as they navigate off the beach, there is some kind of imprinting going on in their brains that kind of helps them navigate years later back to the same beach. But in this story, Gracie's beach is now eroded, gone because of global warming, high tides, whatever. So she has to find a new beach. Another beach is polluted with plastic and things like that. So there's a little bit of a conservationist theme in there for children, not to hit them over the head in a heavy-handed way, but to just raise some enlightenment as far as into consciousness about conservationist themes.
Right.
So that was the purpose of the book. And luckily it has a happy ending, eventually. She does find a beach thanks to Harry Hawksbill, who shows her where the beach is.
And we have a little bit of a video clip of the turtles, because you were down there looking at the turtles.
Right, of actually Gracie Green Turtle herself. And it's one of the pictures in the book where we came across down in Curacao. This green turtle was kind of sleeping in a huge barrel sponge. And as we came by, she kind of woke up and all of a sudden just kind of eased on out and then swam away. But it was wonderful to see.
And I think there's the picture in this book that is exactly what we're going to see on the video.
Right.
Could you find that for
Sure.
me? I know you know where it is. And Bobby, can we see that video of the turtle?
This is it right here.
Okay.
So we're kind of swimming up to it now. Is there any video now or no?
You can talk.
Okay. We're kind of swimming up, and then she notices us there. She was sleeping in this huge barrel sponge. The sponge itself was about 100 years old.
Wow.
And she would be about, right now, a turtle that size could be 25 or 30 years old. She was pretty big, about bigger than the size of this table, and weighed several hundred pounds. And then she kind of went on her way, and that was it.
Isn't she
So that
beautiful?
was our short encounter. But you love having encounters with these animals because they basically go back to the dinosaur age. They're that old. They lineage.
So beautiful.
And when you see them underwater, it's amazing how graceful they are. So it is wonderful animals.
Okay, you sold me. I'm getting my dive certification. Look
you
at
go.
that. And here's a picture from the book,
Right.
which is that same exact scene that was going
Right.
on. Now, what's going on with Gracie and Turtle Sanctuary?
Right. There's in Juno Beach, Florida. There's a Loggerhead Marine Life Center, and they've agreed to take Gracie as a book, and they're working with us to develop another story in the line with the Loggerhead turtles next coming out. That'll be the third book in the series.
Okay.
So Gracie Green Turtle is down there now in their gift shop. A number of books, among some other places we have it set in, and they've been working with us to work through a third story, which will be a Loggerhead story.
I love that.
So
they're beautiful books that people want to read and show to children, but also are actually going to be helping support to save turtles.
we hope, yes.
That's fantastic. Where can our readers find you?
Okay, milabooks.com and on Amazon.com. All my books are on Amazon. They're both in print and in Kindle. And also they can visit bestpublishingcompany.com, which is bestpub.com, which is the author of the publisher.
Okay, Mila Books, MILA books.com, and there's the children's books and the whole series of mysteries, and there's going to be more to come now that we have a tie-in with loggerhead turtles.
Yep.
So hawksbill turtles and green turtles, and now loggerhead turtles.
That'll be the next one.
And one day I'll be able to tell the difference when I'm underwater.
You'll see them.
We'll be right back after this. Thanks so much.
Are you interested in writing, but you're unsure how to get started? Or perhaps you're already an author, but want to hone your skills and receive supportive yet constructive feedback? Welcome to WebWritersRetreat.com. Developed to help once and future authors like you to gain from positive and supportive criticism of your submissions from other writers and our professional staff, push forward through personal timetables and writing exercise sessions, sharpen your skills through group coaching and Q&A sessions with literary experts, receive practical resources such as templates, downloads, links, online courses, and free ebooks. Benefit from book reviews and opportunities to join a beta team to enrich yourself as well as other authors. Save with special discounts for publishing services and online courses, social media, and email marketing, and a whole lot more. Visit WebWritersRetreat.com and turn your writing dreams into reality.
Do you have a book, either in your head or on your desk, just waiting to get out to anxious readers? Hi, I'm Stephanie Larkin, author, book developer, and head penguin at Red Penguin Books. We're a publishing company specializing in books of all genres and publishing in all formats, including digital, audible, and print books. From business books to romance, memoirs to mysteries, our authors have complete control over their books from start to print. We'll help get your book to booksellers all around. Major booksellers such as Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Walmart, even libraries and bookstores around the world. We believe in our authors. So call or email today to get your free publisher's packet to get started. Just visit us at redpenguinbooks.com and get your book out there and into the hands of your readers. At Red Penguin Books, you call all the shots. So call us today and turn your dreams into a reality. Welcome back to Between the Covers. Thanks for joining us. Our next author, Deborah Burns, wrote Saturday's Child, A Daughter's Memoir. What a beautiful book, and this terrified me because I'm terrified that my daughter's going to write this about me one day.
When the daughter holds the pen.
You know, I always jokingly say to my husband, you know, we have one daughter and two sons, and I say, be nice to our daughter. The girl always picks the nursing home. But after reading your book, I think, oh God, and my daughter writes too. I'm doomed.
You could be. You could be.
doomed.
But this really started as a love story.
Oh, and it shines through. I could just scare everybody out there.
Yes. To my mother. And what was very important to me throughout was that she was represented really well.
Yes.
And the book
No,
is
I'm dying to meet her. You know, that was my feeling was.
I only wrote the book. It published 25 years after her death.
Right. No, I get that.
So it wasn't
beautiful.
a story that I could tell then because I was still in the story with her.
Right.
And you know, for everybody who hasn't read it, it's a story of an only worshipful daughter who idealized her goddess of a mother. Mm-hmm. And when I started writing it, as I said, it was a love letter to her, but only through the process of writing it did I realize, oh, I'm the writer, and it's my perspective on our relationship, and that kind of shifted everything.
Interesting.
It originally had a different name.
Really? What was the
Yes.
original title?
The original title was Skirting the Rules.
Oh,
She
interesting.
skirted quite a few rules in her life. She
Yes,
had
no,
quite
I-
a few secrets.
Saturday's Child is definitely.
Yes, but the publisher
your
said it wasn't poetic enough for a memoir. That it's a good title for something else, but not for memoir.
Right.
And so I pulled from that old nursery rhyme, which was in the book.
Yes.
I was born on a Saturday.
Me
And
too.
Saturday's Child works hard for a living, which I
It's a
know you
shame.
have.
I wish I was born on another day.
I know you have.
But
And-
Wednesday's Child is full of woe, so really,
yeah,
you're doing better.
We're going to change the whole rhyme, but my perception was that I had to work hard for her love, and so it fit. And I called the publisher, and they said, "That's it, Saturday's Child."
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
title.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the cover.
So again, I have my publisher to thank.
The cover is.
I originally imagined her face because she was otherworldly beautiful in a way that mere mortals can't touch. And again, the publisher said, no, the cover really has to tell the story
boy,
and
does it.
convey and emotion. And I said, all right, and they were going to show me some examples, and I hated everything. And then I opened the PDF of this cover, and I said, oh my God.
This is visceral. This is really.
We're both in this
Yes.
car,
And
but
look at
we're
her
in our
face.
own world.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm wistful,
Yes.
and this is staged, but it looks almost identical to her. And you've seen the pictures,
Yeah.
which are in the book, and they're on the website as
Yes.
well. So I just said, this is it, and I never looked back.
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm so
Yeah,
glad.
They were right. She writes press. They were amazing.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful cover, but what a story. And it is. It's a love story to your mother, but it's what a story it is. And that's why I said there were parts I read and I thought, oh, I have a daughter. I'm doomed. But but you're,
the mother-daughter relationship is
And
a
you have a daughter.
complex one, and I have a daughter for sure. And she was the only one, actually, that I allowed to see the manuscript.
really,
And she was amazing. She's in the book a little bit, and she grew up to be a fashion editor.
yes.
And she has an editorial mind, and she was exposed to a lot of media in my background, and she is so phenomenally smart, and her insights made the book all it could be. She gave me quite a few things to think about and recognize in the book. So we're a team. I don't think she's going to write a book about me. And
Maybe in 25 years after.
maybe, but I'm not going anywhere, so it's fine.
There's no chance.
No
it is
chance.
really an intergenerational book, and you see
It
that.
is, yeah.
Now, I happened to see, because I was sleuthing around, kind of an open letter you wrote to your daughter.
Yes, that
I
got shared
love that.
everywhere.
Can you talk a little bit about that? It was beautiful, and
Thank
I don't
you.
like to give spoilers of the book, but that letter was
So I have learned that when you publish a book and you think, oh, it's over, I don't have to write anymore, it's just beginning. So I had a publicist for the book, and I had to write a lot of essays. And that one was published in Parade.
okay.
And
Now
I think,
that's not even where I saw it. I saw it someplace else. So that's
well,
funny. It went everywhere.
I put it up on LinkedIn. It really
went
did. It was
everywhere.
of all of the essays I
Yeah.
wrote. It really traveled
Yes.
the furthest, and it was really a look at this generation of daughters.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother, I'm a boomer. My daughter is a millennial,
Right.
and my mother was the baby boom
Yeah.
generation, I guess. And she was very unconventional for her time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was part of the first generation of women who really went out and had careers en masse. And now the generation that followed has picked up, we've been great role models, as you have
Yes.
too. And they picked up some of our stresses. There were no rules for how to manage
Right.
work and home because we were
That's
first.
right. You were first. You were first, and there were no rules.
And now I think this generation is going to do it better. But it may not be all work focused. I think this generation wants a little more balance in
I
their
think it
lives.
has switched. You're right.
And so the open letter, I think it was published around Mother's Day, and it was really 5 lessons. And I only remember 1 or 2 of them now. But one of them was, don't let anybody define you, not
Yes.
even me. And it was all of the reasons why. And it really, thank you for mentioning it, because
Yeah,
it really did.
that was amazing.
It had a valuable something in it.
And there was one, I can't remember exactly how it was phrased, but it was that the equivalent of when life hands you lemons, make lemonade.
Sure.
And it was you taking the bulk of all of your experiences, turning them into, and this is how come I am a successful woman in all of these things.
Everything that ever
Everything-
happened in my life
Right.
came back around for this, and will come back around for that generation.
That's
I
right.
think there's a lot of hand-wringing going on now. We're in a digitally accelerated age, and everybody's supposed to find their passion the second they start out of the gate. And what's counterintuitive about it all is even though it's accelerated, we really have more time.
Right.
This is my midlife debut, and the book published when I was 63. Wow. And it's transformed my life and kicked off a whole host of other things. And it's only
I'm
because
so excited for you.
I surrendered to
Yeah.
this idea and
So
went
excited.
forward.
I am so excited for you doing that. That's wonderful. And I'm really hoping, is there another one coming?
Well, I know you're a fan of multiple books. Here's what I know. Here's what I haven't recovered from this one
I
yet.
understand that, and I'm a fan of multiple books when I love the author.
Thank you.
Okay.
What I've learned now is that this is a book that has meaning to people beyond what I ever imagined at the beginning.
Yes.
People reach out to me every day on Instagram and tell me what it meant to them, and it's stunning to me. It was the hardest work I ever did.
Oh, I'm sure.
In a career of hard work. So for me to do that again, it has to pass a filter test. Like, why would I put myself through that
There always
again?
has to be a good why.
So I know now I'm not a fiction
No.
beach read person who's going to churn out a book a year. This, I think, worked because I'm really a memoirist. I channeled the emotion and I tapped into something that through my own eccentric experience maybe touches other people. So I
That's a roundabout way to say no.
no. I may be a one-hit wonder, but what is coming is a nonfiction that I'm working on right now. I started speaking inside of corporations with a message to inspire employees to be the author of your own life. And it kind of marries my business background and creativity. So it takes the creative journey, but not the topic of the book. And it helps people, as you said at the beginning, 98%, 99.5, whatever it is, people are never going to write a book.
They're never going to write
But
it.
there's so much information in the world of writing that I stepped into to do this. And so the message of be the author of your own life is if you think like an author, you'll have more success. So I have lessons in that.
Okay.
And
When that's
it's
finished,
really,
can you please send it my way?
I will. Now I know who to talk to, so I will. I absolutely will.
Thank you very much. And where can our viewers find you and your books?
So DeborahBurnsAuthor.com. You'll see all the pictures there in color, most of them, and more about the book. And of course, like every book, it's also on Amazon, on BarnesandNoble.com,
All the good places.
IndieBound,
All right.
and in some bookstores,
Fantastic.
if you can find it, and
Thank
libraries.
you so much, and you'll send me the next one when it's ready.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll take a minute, and we'll be back with our next author. Welcome back to Between the Covers. I'm so delighted to have author Tracy Auerbach on. She had sent me Sons of Fire, but there's a whole stack of books over there going on and more to come. So welcome, Tracy.
Thank you.
And thank you for sneaking out of the house. I know you have young children at home.
Yes.
Wasn't easy, was it?
Yeah. No, they wanted to come, but they were not allowed.
Oh, well, this way they're not swinging from the chandeliers here.
They would be.
They would be, and they'd be distracting moms.
Yes.
So I'm glad
And
that
they'd
you're here.
want to scuba dive as well.
Oh, yeah, they'd be signed up. Well, I'm signed up here already. You know.
We're taking a class.
The two of us,
There you
we're
go.
going down there.
Yes.
I hear Cozumel is the place.
They're,
So,
they're
going.
also not allowed there either.
so you mentioned you've been writing since you were a kid, but
Yes.
then after your kids, now, correct me if I'm wrong, my children are older at this point. After you have kids, that's usually when you're too busy to do anything, and somehow
Yeah.
you found time to write all these books.
So yeah, it's interesting. I was a full-time working mom. I'm a teacher as well. And
What grade do you teach?
right now I'm in a special ed self-contained class, 3 through 5. But I was teaching science for the past 14 years,
Wow.
science and STEM.
And special ed, self-contained, grades 3 through 5.
Yeah.
That sounds a little terrifying to someone like me.
It depends on the day. Yeah,
Okay.
it could be. But so I had the new babies at home, and they're 2 years apart, and just the responsibility of the house and the working. And I think that I needed like a private mind space to stay sane in, and I go there. So when I'm lying in bed at night and I'm trying to go to sleep, and I have I have to do this and this and this, and oh, then there's this, in those like 10 minutes, I will be thinking about imaginary stories. And I get these ideas in my head, and I will plan out, like as if I'm watching a TV show in my head, like what's going to happen next. This character will say this. Oh, that's a dramatic scene. And I'll just go along with it in my head, and that is how I take my break. I still don't have time for manicure, but I didn't have time for any me time. So my me time kind of started to take place in my head. While I was driving, while I was taking a nap, even while I was feeding the babies, just planning out what would happen next. Oh, I love this. And I am a huge reader. I love fantasy. I love books. I don't know if this is impressive or frightening, but I read over 70 books last year. So
That's very impressive.
a little scary.
And how you do that, and you're working full-time, and you have young children at home.
I don't sleep much. I don't sleep much. Stress and caffeine. But
Thank you for taking time out to come here and sit on the red couch. I'm
and
thrilled
lots
now
of caffeine.
hearing that schedule.
So just having these ideas swirling around in my head is entertaining,
Right.
and I love to write them down. I love writing as much as I love reading.
I love that you're with your children when they were young, and these stories are going on, and that's your break. It's kind of like you get to watch a movie.
Yeah, it's very much like that. And I do tell these stories to my children. My older son was my beta reader for some of these.
Really?
I did. They're young adults, and I did kind of bring them down to a younger level and edit them a bit. But,
Okay.
just to see what a reaction is from a child was really cool.
That's wonderful.
And just to share that experience, because I love reading to my children.
Wow. So if you were reading this out loud to your children, for example, you could just kind of self-edit as you go.
I did that.
I'm not going to tell you that part. I'm just going to come over to this part.
It was exactly like that. So definitely.
That's amazing. And that you have time for this is just amazing. I do have one question about this book. I was very fortunate you sent this along so I could read it. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers. I want you to all go out and get the book. But it's about two brothers who are named Keegan and Aiden. Mm-hmm. And it was very funny because I was telling my husband about the book. And he, of course, said the first thing I said, "Why are all the demons Irish?"
Wow.
I said, "I don't know why all the demons are Irish. I'm going to ask her why all the demons are Irish."
So actually, a line in the book is, "Oh, is that Irish?" And he just doesn't know how to answer because he's a demon.
Right.
But the reason that I chose those names was because of their meaning. So Aiden means fire,
Okay.
and Keegan means tiny fire.
Oh, okay.
So in doing research, I always have a reason for the names of my
yeah,
characters.
no, there should be.
And I was looking up names, and those are just fire-based names.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Irish are fiery.
They are fiery,
Yeah.
and I was like, why are we making all the Irish demons? I'm part Irish. Is this a bad thing?
So no, it's a
But we're
great
fiery,
thing. You're
okay.
fiery, and yeah, those names mean fire and tiny fire.
Fantastic. Now, let me ask you part of your writing process, because I am always in awe of fiction writers, and especially fantasy. You're seeing these movies in your head, and then somehow you find time to go to a computer to type them in. Do you always know how it's going to end, or does it just...
So there's two camps of that, the pantsers and the planners.
Exactly.
And the planners.
I'm such a planner.
So the planners plan everything out, and the pantsers write by the seat of their pants. And I am very much a pantser, in so much so that I will actually be writing. I'll be like, oh wow, I can't believe that just happened. Like as I'm writing it.
Can't imagine.
And then
I'm such a planner that the thought of that happening is just beyond me.
So the thing about pantsers is that a lot of times we mess things up and have to do them over again. So So this book, The Sin Soldiers, which is it's the first in a trilogy, the Fragments trilogy.
Right.
It was an entirely different book. It just had the same characters. And I loved them. I fell in love with those characters. But I kind of scrapped the whole book and rewrote it. I said, I love these characters, but I didn't do a great job of this. So I'm going to scrap the book, and I rewrote the entire book.
Wow.
And I had this huge story in my head, and the book just didn't take me to where I wanted that story and that world to go. So I redid it. And this was actually also... initially, it was one demon. It wasn't brothers, and it was
really?
a different book.
I can't even imagine it with one.
Yeah, so I could at one point, but once I did it, I'm like, nope, I can't imagine this anymore. Wow. So I redid it.
Now, you were the one who sensed yourself that there was, I'll say, an issue with the book, or did you have beta readers?
I had beta readers. One of my beta readers just wasn't, when I initially had this idea for Sons of Fire, because I
Which
loved,
must have had a different title if there were no brothers.
Right. It was, I can't even remember the name of the book. Could you believe?
Son of Fire.
I have, that would have been a good one. Yeah. I have, my one brain cell is not flaring right now, but I have it somewhere saved on my computer.
Wow.
But it was a different story. And it was the same theme, the exploration of what it means to be human. And
Yes.
but I felt like it needed that kind of, the two demons playing off of each other.
Yes.
And the parallels going on. I felt like something was missing.
I can't even...
And it was Keegan.
I can't imagine the whole book with just one brother. It's just beyond me to even think about. So your reader read it and said, this is not working, or you read it and said it's not working? I only ask because sometimes it's so hard for us to judge ourselves. That's why
I
was wondering.
love beta readers, and I have a few beta readers that I really trust. And my usual motto is, if one of my beta readers suggests that something is not working, I believe in myself. If like two of my beta readers suggest it, then I stop believing in myself as much.
And it's not believing in yourselves. I mean, sometimes we're too
Right.
close to, I don't want to say too close to the problem, but aren't we our own worst judges of things?
You can't live in a bubble, too. You need feedback.
You definitely
Yeah.
need feedback, absolutely. And sometimes because we're sitting in the room constantly and with the book and the
Yeah.
names and the characters swimming around in our heads, we're so close to it
Yeah.
that we need those beta readers.
I put it on a mental shelf for a while.
Okay, good,
and
good.
I said, I love this story, I love the theme, but let me get back to it. And
Okay.
that was actually when
and time away is probably...
Yes, I started doing more work on the other series, and
Okay.
I came back to this because it was very much a work of fun and passion for me.
Right.
And I said, I have it now. And when I wrote it, I felt the difference.
So you had multiple projects going on at one time.
Yes, yeah. So
Could you, I mean...
Are you going to ask her how long it takes to do a book? I just want to know.
You want
I
to
have
ask
to know.
her?
I have
Okay,
to know.
okay, I'll ask her. So how long did it take you?
So when I first write it, it pours out. It could take me a month to write a book, and
Because Margaret Mitchell took 10 years for Gone with the Wind. You know that.
so but that's not the end of the story. That it'll
No.
take about a month, and then it takes a month to think about it and decide that I want some people to read it, and then it takes another month for those people to read it and get back to me, and for me to do with that feedback what I will.
Right, right.
A lot of times a book will get shelved and rewritten, and that's a few more months. And then you get your beta readers out again, and then content editors, and then the line editors, and then the galley editors. So it turns into a year process of writing and editing and fixing. And for me, because I am such a pantser, the writing process is one part of it, but the editing process is an enormous part of it.
Oh.
And
Definitely.
as I tell
for
my
sure.
students, our published pieces, even the pieces we put on the bulletin board, these aren't even done yet. We could even add to these. So I have all my books in class, and my students want to read them, and I just say, no, it's to tease them. I'm like, you can't read them. But
Have you
so-
ever considered writing maybe middle grade fiction or something?
I have, and I would love to one day. That would be something I would love to do. I am in awe of middle grade writers because for me, I read a ton of young adult, and middle grade is just so subtly different.
Very, very
But
fine.
It's just such a fine line. You have the children's books that all your chapter books that your kid readers, but then they get to this level where that's not enough for them. They have a richer life, a richer thought life going on in their head. And you need to touch on these themes that are just so important to them. But you can't do it in a way that young adults can get quite yet. It's just it's like that magic bubble.
Yes.
And I belong to a ton of authors groups, and I am just in awe of middle grade writers. And I think that it is honestly the most difficult, like, magic to grasp, that middle grade magic.
Yeah. It's a very fine line.
So
But
fine.
as an educator, I would think that you would understand that fine line so much more
I
than other
understand the
people.
line. I don't know if I could walk on the line, but we'll see. Maybe someday.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people who are wanting, I mean, as a mom who had boys especially,
Yeah.
and it's so hard to find good books
Yeah.
at that level. They gobbled up the books that are available in that level
Yes.
so quickly. If you have a child who is a reader and they gobble those books up and then you're done.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, there's nothing else to read.
Working in the school, that's a big issue.
I'm sure it is. I both of my sons were readers, and they plateaued so quickly because they had read everything that was available, and the next level up was inappropriate.
Right.
And honestly, they have not had that love of reading ever since middle grade.
I think,
because
the Z-level running record is actually like a John Grisham book. And it's like, that's not something that these
no, I can't give that to a
fifth grader,
no, I can't.
Yeah.
But they finished all the other books.
Yeah.
So as a mom, I mean, my kids are not that young anymore, but we need more books in that. So whether you write them, and I hope so, because this
Thank you.
type of book geared towards middle grade would be fabulous. But let's get some writers out there, because there's a whole generation. And I think of boys. Girls, there's a little more of that young chicklet, I'll call it, that's
Yeah.
out there. But boys have a hard time.
And also,
And you write good for boys.
Thank you. Well, I only have boys. Even my
Yeah.
class is 8 boys and 1 girl.
Yeah,
and I
no,
only
this
have
is definitely
sons.
writing good, good writing for boys.
But also books that go against that typical jock stereotype.
Yes.
Books for the loners, and books for the geeks, and books for all the nerds like me. But the boys who don't fit into that specific category.
Right.
The boys who feel like they're all alone. They need books.
Well, hopefully you'll go write them.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this and find out what our authors are doing next. Tracy is working on a trilogy now, The Sin Soldiers. I said to her, I am so in love with this cover, and she showed me that the cover was so beautiful, and she was in love with it. She had it made into a T-shirt. Isn't that stunning? I mean, not every cover can make it into a T-shirt. That is just gorgeous. So now that I've told our authors what they have to be writing next, where can our viewers find you? Tracy, do you have any events coming up or anything that we can find you at?
I have all my events listed on my website, and that's another thing that's not
please
in
tell
my
us.
brain right now. But
Tracy?
it's Tracy's Written Life.
Oh, tracyswrittenlife.com.
Yeah, is my website.
Okay, I'm glad you're telling us that.
That's the name of the website. So it's actually TracyAuerbach.com.
TracyAuerbach.com.
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't find that, so let me make sure I put that on the website.
TracyAuerbach.com.
So that we can link to it too. TracyAuerbach.com, and are all your events and books and everything there?
All my events and my books are available through Barnes & Noble and Amazon and the libraries, and also on my publisher's website, The Parliament House.
Fantastic. And I know that right now we're working on, this was book 1 of a new trilogy, so the new book would be ready?
Yeah, so it's the Fragments trilogy. The first book is The Sin Soldiers. The Crystal War is coming in April.
Fantastic.
And the third book is coming the following January,
Look at
January
that.
2021.
Wonderful. Thank you. And TracyAuerbach.com.
Yes.
Wonderful. Where can we find you and what's going on next?
So Saturday's Child is DeborahBurnsAuthor.com. I told you a little bit about what's going on next. I think Be the Author of Your Own Life is a nonfiction book that will be coming out. We'll
Any
be
events
ready.
we could see you at?
I just did a slew of events, and
missed you.
I'm taking a break to actually finish that manuscript. And then a few new things are opening up that I can't really talk about yet, but would put me in a whole new place, and it's all because of the book.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I will ask both of you, please, when you do have all these things come to fruition, could you drop me an email? I would love to share it with our viewers on the website and all through our social media feeds.
Thank you. Thank you
I will
for the
be
support.
at Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble, I think Massapequa, and Barnes & Noble Carl Place coming up. Yeah.
Oh, do you know the dates of those, just to let us know?
The Carl Place one, I believe, is June 20th.
Okay.
The Massapequa one is sooner, but I can't remember the exact date.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, and please send me the flyer so I can blast it out to all of our viewers, because we have a newsletter that goes out too.
Definitely. Thank you.
And Paul, what's new for you?
In the way of books, Best Publishing wanted this to be a series, so we have a third one in the works, which will be either Lori Loggerhead Goes to the Sea Turtle Hospital,
the children's.
or Larry.
Oh, so we don't know if it's a Lori or a
Depending on
Larry?
the anatomical differences with the turtles that I shot, I have to have a turtle expert advise me. Yes, this is Lori or that's Larry. I think I know, but I just want to be sure that the technical expert had
I love this. This is the only author they have to check the anatomical.
Yeah, and that was inspired by an encounter we had with a loggerhead turtle that was swimming by us with a huge gash in its shell. It got hit by a boat or some accident. So that was the inspiration behind that, and where I got the idea. You never know where the inspiration is going to come from.
Right.
So that's what's next in the works. Probably have it out before the end of the year.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, as I said, any events that are coming up, please send them to me so we can put them on the website. Our pages will remain live so we can link to them at all times. And if you are looking for any of our authors and you forgot everything that we just said, just visit us at BetweenTheCoversTV.com. All of their links, their books, their author websites, and everything else will be there. And thank you so much for joining us and for supporting our authors and for reading. Thanks a lot and have a great night.
Yay.